Welcome back to the Lonely Star podcast, everyone. Today we're diving into some really fascinating questions about relationships
Yeah.
and well-being. So we're kind of focusing in on understanding
Right.
some more, I guess, complex or challenging dynamics that can surface in our closest connections.
Yes, definitely. And we've been looking at some materials that shed light on unhealthy relationship patterns.
Okay.
Specifically, we're going to be looking at characteristics linked with narcissism.
Gotcha. So kind of getting a better understanding of how that looks so we can navigate our own relationships with more clarity.
Exactly. That's the goal here, to give you those insights, maybe
Yeah.
some surprising connections,
Yeah.
offer new perspective.
Yeah, absolutely. So when we're talking about narcissism, what's the core idea here?
So imagine someone whose inner voice just constantly tells them that they are the most important person in the room
Okay.
and has this deep need for everyone else to agree and admire them.
Wow, that's
That's close to the core of narcissism as it's described in the material we looked at.
right.
It's more than healthy self-esteem. It's like an inflated sense of self-importance with this craving for admiration.
So how does that play out then when someone like that is in a relationship? It seems like it would cause imbalance.
Exactly. It often translates to them putting their own needs and desires first,
Okay.
often excluding their partner's needs.
Right.
It's like a constant need for praise and validation.
Like they need to be told they're special all the time.
Yeah, exactly. Like they're confirming their own exceptionality.
Which brings us to the next red flag, lack of empathy. That seems like a pretty fundamental challenge in any connection.
Absolutely. The inability to share and understand the feelings of someone else is a central issue here.
So what does that look like practically? Like in a day-to-day interaction?
Imagine you've had just a terrible day
Yeah.
and you turn to your partner to share.
Yeah, of course.
A partner who lacks empathy might just completely disregard how you feel.
Oh, wow.
Immediately switch the conversation back to themselves. Or they might minimize what you're going through by saying something like, "Oh, work is always stressful. You'll get over it."
Yeah. So your emotions just hit a wall.
Yeah, you don't feel heard at all.
Exactly. No validation.
And then on top of that, we have this constant need for admiration.
Yes.
It's more than just enjoying a compliment now and then, right?
Oh, yeah. This is way more intense.
Okay.
It's a deeply ingrained need.
Wow.
So they require constant praise and validation,
For anything.
even for small accomplishments.
Really?
Remember that inflated self-image we talked about?
Right.
This admiration is what reinforces that.
So it's like they need that external validation
Exactly.
to prop up how they view themselves.
Exactly.
That's a lot of pressure to put on a partner.
Oh, absolutely.
That sounds exhausting.
It's like a one-way street emotionally.
So you're constantly giving but not receiving.
Exactly.
Which leads us to another big issue, manipulation.
Yes, manipulation is a huge red flag here.
So how do our sources define that exactly? It's basically using different tactics to control others for your own benefit.
Okay.
It goes beyond like healthy compromise.
Right.
It's about power and control.
So one person benefits at the expense of the other.
Exactly.
And they go into some specific types of manipulation, right?
Yeah. So for example, guilt tripping.
Yeah, we've all probably experienced that in some way.
Sure, but in these situations, it can get really intense.
Okay, so what sets it apart in this context?
Well, it often involves bringing up past mistakes to make you feel obligated.
So they hold your past against you
In a way, yes.
to make you feel like you owe them something.
Exactly.
Then there's gaslighting, which we hear a lot about these days.
Right, and for good reason.
Yeah, it's very serious.
It's a very sneaky form of manipulation where they
Okay.
deny your experiences and your feelings.
So they're messing with your sense of reality?
Exactly. They might say things like, "That didn't happen," or "You're imagining things,"
Wow.
which makes you question your own sanity.
It's like they're twisting your perception of what happened?
Exactly. And it can be really confusing and hurtful.
Yeah, I can imagine.
You start to doubt yourself.
And there were some other forms of manipulation mentioned, right?
Yeah, like using personal information against you.
That feels like a huge betrayal.
It is. They use things you shared in confidence to control you.
Wow.
The sources also talk about switching between affection and punishment.
Oh, like hot and cold behavior.
Yeah, it creates this dependency.
Because you're always trying to please them to get the positive reinforcement.
Exactly.
And then there's isolation trying to cut you off from your support system.
Right, they want you all to themselves.
They have more control.
Exactly.
And all of this can have a real impact on your mental health.
Oh, absolutely.
What are some of the things that the sources mention?
Increased anxiety and depression,
Makes sense.
lower self-esteem, and even PTSD-like symptoms.
Wow. So it can be really damaging long term.
It can really take a toll on you.
Okay, moving on. Let's talk about this sense of superiority,
Right.
which seems to be pretty central to this whole dynamic.
It is, and it's more than just confidence.
Okay.
It's like a belief that they're inherently better than everyone else.
So no matter what they do, they think they're superior.
Exactly, and it can come across as arrogance or a condescending tone.
Okay.
They might dismiss other people's opinions and achievements.
Right.
Even their partners.
And how does that affect their respect for boundaries in a relationship?
Well, they often struggle to respect boundaries.
Okay.
They see them as weaknesses.
Really?
Yeah, or obstacles to their own desires.
So it's like their needs trump everyone else's.
Exactly.
Can you give an example of what that might look like?
Sure, they might ignore your need for personal space.
Okay.
Or make decisions about your finances without talking to you.
Wow.
Or interfere with your social life, even if you've said you're uncomfortable.
It's all about control.
It is.
And then the sources talk about this tendency to be volatile,
Yeah.
which sounds pretty scary, to be honest,
It can.
because you never know what's going to set them off.
Exactly. They can have sudden outbursts of anger.
So you're walking on eggshells all the time.
Yeah, it creates a lot of anxiety.
And finally, this cycle of idealization and devaluation,
Right.
that sounds incredibly confusing for the person on the receiving end.
It is. It's like a roller coaster.
Okay.
So at first they might put you on a pedestal.
See you as perfect.
Exactly.
Right.
But then when you inevitably don't meet their unrealistic expectations.
Because no one's perfect.
Exactly. They turn on you.
And start criticizing and devaluing you.
Exactly. It can be really damaging to your self-esteem.
And make you feel like you're going crazy.
Absolutely.
So this has been a lot of information,
It has.
but incredibly important for anyone listening who might be experiencing some of these things in their own relationships, or even seeing it in someone else's relationship.
Yes.
So what are some initial steps that someone can take if they're seeing these red flags?
The first step is just recognizing the signs. If you see several of these patterns, it's time to reassess the situation.
For your own well-being.
Exactly. You need to protect yourself.
And understanding how manipulation works is key, too.
Absolutely.
So you can see it for what it is.
And sometimes creating some distance is necessary.
Whether that's emotional or physical.
Right, to give yourself space to breathe.
That makes sense. And the sources also include a glossary of terms.
Yeah, like narcissism.
Empathy, manipulation, gaslighting.
It can be helpful to have those definitions.
Yeah, so we're all on the same page.
Exactly.
So to wrap up, what's the key message you want listeners to take away from this?
I think the biggest takeaway is that knowledge is power. Knowing about these patterns can help you identify them and protect yourself.
So recognizing these signs can empower you to make healthier choices
Absolutely.
and ultimately build stronger relationships.
Yes. And it all comes down to fostering those connections built on respect, empathy, and genuine care.
Yeah.
Not manipulation.
So for everyone listening, as you continue to navigate your own relationships, think about this. How can a better understanding of these patterns and these boundaries help you create more fulfilling and equal connections?
That's the question to leave you with today.
Thanks for listening, everyone.
See you next time.